And here we go with the Golden Ass, chapter 11 of book 2. His, which means these, ablative I'm guessing, plural, and talibus, and such things. So Monobus lets us know that this was during their conversations. So this and such things in the conversations. Obgenitus means it was bantering and prattling on, sort of going on. Internos, between us. So we talked about these things and other such things in our garrulous conversations amongst ourselves. And then discesumest. We parted ways. We left. Well, they left from each other. Commodum, adverb here. Probably means just or something. So meridia days, it's noontime, middle of the day, had arcessit, had approached, had just approached, so it had just turned midday. And Byrahina here, mitted, which means sent, in the past tense, mihi, to me, xenolia. You can tell from the X it's probably of Greek origin, it's tokens of gifts, and we have a listing here. Porcum opimum, that's a fat pig, quinque gallinus, 5 hens, and a cadum, that's like a cask. Vinai in ateto pretiosus. So it was a cask of wine, and it was pretiosus, shows it was expensive, and it looks like it's well aged because it has in aetate there. So maybe some of the price was because it was well aged as well as it would have tasted good. Tunc means then, it's a bit like nunc. I, that's me. Vocata photode, ablative absolute with photus having been vocated, having been called. Inquam, I said. Okay, it's an imperative, it's a bit of an interjection as well. Means look. Veneris, of Venus. So a hortator, that's an encourager, and an armiger, that's someone who gerans or carries arms. So the encourager and arm bearer are Liber, that's like Bacchus, of Venus. It shows the relationship. He is advenited, ultro. This has a few meanings. It can mean of his own accord, or besides, or on this side, or wantonly. And since it's Bacchus, it could be wantonly. Probably just translate those two as other translators have. He arrived in addition or as well. Vinum istud. So this wine, it's in the accusative there for a neuter. Hodie, adverb for today, we shall absorb, which means drink. Omne, we see the E of the neuter there for the istud vinum. So today we should drink all this wine. Quod can be a relative from a neuter or because. Restinguat, it's like extinguish, they just call it re in front of the extinguish bit. So we should extinguish or put out the ignavia of this pudor nobis to us. So it's like this base action of our shame, it'll put out, and alacrem vigor. Vigor is like a stiffening, alacrem like an enthusiasm. Incutiat, so usually this means like the sharpen or something. So it will sharpen up and give us enthusiasm for the vigors, libinus, of our lusts. Okay, so we've got liber, who's Bacchus, we have wine, and we have lust, all this sort of thing. Hac enum. Enum's 4. Hac this, sitacia. This is a bag for provisions, or it can be the provisions for a journey themselves. For these provisions, sola indigat, which are alone, that's the sola bit. Indigat means lacking or needed. For a navigum of Venus is for a ship of Venus. He's talking a bit in the mysteries here, but we're talking about love making. Basically, the ship of Venus is so that in nocte, so that during the night, they will be per vigilant, they will be staying awake, it looks like through the night, sailing their ship of love. So that's probably also. Oleo, it looks like we've got oil for the lantern, the lucerna's the lantern. So what they need to sail their ship all through the night for this vigilant of lovemaking is oil for their lantern, and a calyx is like a chalice, a cup, abundant, same sort of thing in English, it's got enough, with enough vino, with enough wine. Okay, that's a quote there, as we can see from that. And we'll have a daily dictionary word. Stictacia, in the top 10,000 words in use throughout all the ages. A scrip even, but a bag or receptacle for provisions and the provisions for the journey itself. And there's a source, Oxford Latin Dictionary. And where are we? Diem caterum. So the rest of the day in accusative is to lavacroing, which is washing, and deinde. It doesn't have the de. This is the coming before a c, which is not a vowel. So they spell it differently. Dedimus. We shall give over the rest of the day to washing and then to dinner. That's probably dative or whatever it is there. Nemylonis. Boni. These are probably both genitives. For of good Milo. Consignatiacium blah 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 mensulam. This means little table. It's a diminutive. Consinuous means it's in good proportion, etc. I think we see it as elegant in translations. Rogatus. This is the supine form of the past passive, and it's of the first person male. So I've been regarded to the little elegant table of good Milo ad cuberam. Means he's going to sit at the table, so he's been invited to sit down. I think they lie down when they eat. Quam pote tutus. Potes comes from possum. So I'll be quam pote tutus. I'll be as safe as possible. Quam pote as possible. We have an ab from the aspectu, fourth declension, from the sight eos uxoris of his wife. Memor, mindful, double genitive, of the monitorum of Byrrhenia, by the advice or the, however you want to translate that, by the request maybe, possibly, but just the advice in general of Byrrhenia, to don't be in the sight of the wife, so you can be safe. And perinde, another little adverb. So we'll take it as then, in eos facium, that's in with the accusative. So towards her face, oculus meos, looks like he's got his eyes, my eyes, on her face, axi, as if, and here he is, he's describing what he's in formidans. He's dreading or fearful, as if he is deecuramming. He's casting his eyes into a vernum lacum, which is a place where you enter the underworld, Lake of Vernum. I think there's where is it, Bay of Naples or somewhere, they believe. Said, it's just a common but, it's not strong, at and ast are usually stronger. But assiduae, we have an adverb, means constantly. I was respiciens, which means looking back. The spicio bit is the looking, and the re means looking back or turning to the side when he looked. And we have an accusative, pre ministrantem photodem. So photos is administering at this table, or being an attendant there. Pre at the beginning is just a compound. And I was recrabaring, I was refreshing refreshing of my mind in ibi, in looking at photos. His mind was getting refreshed, or he's feeling better. Cum ecce, when look, yam, now, vesperium, that's vespers, it's twilight basically. Pamphile was in tunings, which mean gazing and looking over the lucernam in the accusative, which is the Latin. Quam largus in quote, so it's like how large, in which he said, an imba, which is rain, aderit crestino, on the morrow or tomorrow, aderit means we'll be here. So how large will be this storm, or you might just want to meet the quam for a bit and treat it as a relative or something. So there will be a large rainstorm here tomorrow. And we'll take that out, and per contanti, which is a present participle, looks like it's in the ablative dative case, singular here. So with a husband per contouring, inquiring, qui, it's a good use of qui, it's like how, sometimes it means why, but it's how here, how she had comparisset, how she had come to get this knowledge, how she had discovered it, and this starts the pronoun for that. She responded, sibi lucernum praedicere. So respondent's a head verb, it's going to take the infinitive, so praedicere is the infinitive. She said that the sibi, to herself, the lantern had predicted this to her. So it's a magic lantern apparently. Quote going on here. I say quod dictum, which means when this was said, Milo, he's in the nominative, he secured us, he followed this Ipsius himself with a risu. Risu is a laugh, sometimes it's just a smile. Grandem inquit. So he said, Grand istem lucan sibylam. So this is the great Sibyl, this lantern. So this lantern is the great, Paschamus means we are feeding. So again, this verb is the nominative. The muspit means us. We're feeding this accusative, this lantern with the great Sibyl. Quae who, female who. Cuncta Kala, all of the heavens, all of the negotia, all the business or troubles of heavens, and the sol ipsum, and the sun itself. She contours, she looks over, has a sense of protection maybe in the two a bit, from her spectacle candelabra. This is like specula, as we know, is a watchtower, so the candelabra means like chandelier or something, watchtower, maybe just candles or another lantern. Chapter 12, ad hac. To this, even though it's plural, this is probably the best English for it. To this I subiciens, I entered in here, he interrupted. I said, sunt prima huisci divinationis experiment. So this is his prima, female, experiment. This is his first experiment or test, huisci divinations, of this type of divination. Nec mirum, so something like, it's no wonder, or don't be surprised, listed here looks like a conjunction, as although, igniculum, another diminutive for fire, so it's a little fire, is modicum, it's a modest little fire, and manibus humanus, by the hands of humans, this laboratum, this labour, this work. Memorem, it's an adjective. Talmud's nevertheless mindful of maioris illis. So this little fire, even though it's modest and made from the human hands, it still has a memory of maioris, bigger things, and of the caelus ignis, and of the heavenly fire, velut, as if of its own parents. Okay, so maybe a small fire come from a big fire. Quid is a pronoun. Edituris is a future. So what it's about to produce or bring forth, in the, I think this in's taking the ablative, in the vertice, which is the top or the summit of the aetheris, which is the air or the sky under the heavens maybe, by a divine presagio, by a divine prophecy maybe, I want to say, it's able to know itself, and to annuntiare means to announce, taking the dative to nobis, to us. So, all that's about this little fire. Don't be surprised about it. This little fire made by human hands, it's still mindful of the bigger fires and of the heavenly fires as if it was its parents, and it's able to produce from the top of the heavens basically this divine presage, and to know what's happening, that's the scary bit, and to tell us, to annuntiare it. Nam et, for also, nunc now, at Corinth, I'm guessing that is Corinthi, apud nos, amongst us, so he's obviously from Corinth. Now, passim means everywhere, it's an adverb. There is a quidam Chaldeus, there's a certain Chaldean, and looks like hospice is part of that as well. Hospice is a confusing word because it can mean the guest or the host taking the guest, but it looks like he's a guest, certain Chaldean guest who, through the whole, the totem civicum, through the whole city or the whole citizenry, has meris responses, has given marvelous responses, passim everywhere, which have turbulented, confused or disturbed the total civitatem, and with arcanum fatorum, so these are like secrets of the fates, emerendis stipibus, looks like he's collected some stipends, some money, and he's edicated. He has spoke these out in the vulgum to the common people. Qui, we saw qui earlier, is how or why. So it looks like which days he would affirm it for copulus nuptiarums. So which days would be best, something like that. He would affirm, he would speak out using these miraculous responses. Which days are best for getting married, copulus nuptiarums, and qui, how or why. Yeah, it looks like, again, it's probably just which. which fundamentals of the wall, which are foundations of the wall, would be perpetual, so that the walls wouldn't fall down, I'm guessing. So he's speaking about days to get married, days, and how they should build foundations for the walls. What is commodus to a negotiatore? What's things are convenient for a businessman, a negotiatore. What is celebrus to a viator? What are the good things that a viator needs to know, which is a traveller, someone taking the road. And qui navigus opportunus. And what's opportune? Looks like a dative adjective for navigation to sail. Mihi, to me, dative, deniqui, finally. Proventum huis peregrination. So this is about his journey. To me, about my peregrination, and what's going to happen in it, what's going to happen during my journey. We see mihi and inquirenti are both datives. So he's saying to me, as I'm inquiring about the outcome of this journey, he responded multa. He gave many responses. And oppido mirror, I think the oppido here would be the adverb, means thoroughly mirror, very, very mirror, very marvellous, and satis variation. So we see that as contrary things as well. So he gave some marvellous responses, and they could have been contrary to other parts of what he was saying. I think this is it for the day. So we see nunc, it's going to be a nunc. Nunc is correlatives. So, anum. For now, there was gloriam satis floriendum. His glory and honours will be flourishing. But now, this would be the contrarious thing of the varia, a magna historiam. It would be a great history and an incredundum fabula, and a great story, futurum me. This would be about me. In my future, I'll make a great history, incredible story, and libros, it's plural, so many books worth of great history and incredible story. That's it.